Well, good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. Breaking news out of Israel, and more specifically out of Syria. Israel has done a major strike. Syria wide-ranging Israeli airstrikes in 3 waves over Damascus region. So this isn't just a singular strike, 3 waves of aircraft flying into Syria, apparently getting around the S-300, evading it or jamming it, or doing something else. Now Syria is claiming they've downed an Israeli jet fighter. But what is this? How does this relate to end-time Bible prophecy? You may be new to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I cover end-time Bible prophecy as it relates to the return of the Lord. Signs that are converging that point us to the fact that the Bible is accurate and true, and prophecy is being fulfilled, and the return of the Lord is very near, and I believe it is. And I think an economic collapse is coming very shortly. But we're going to see a build-up, an escalation of events fulfilling end-time Bible prophecy. And one of those prophecies is Isaiah 17. This particular prophecy is about Damascus, and it's about the destruction of Damascus. Now, Damascus has been a city for thousands of years. It's the longest city. It's been around the longest, basically, the city of Damascus, Syria. It's the longest running city pretty much anywhere that hasn't been destroyed at one point in its life. The burden of Damascus. Damascus is taken away from being a city. So the Bible speaks of a time when Damascus will no longer be a city, and it will be a ruinous heap. Look at there in the first verse. It shall be a ruinous heap. This hasn't happened yet in the history of the city of Damascus. It says, the cities of Aurora are forsaken. There shall be flocks which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. It goes on and speaks about Damascus and Israel. But this prophecy hasn't been fulfilled yet. The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus. So the kingdom, i.e. Bashar Assad's kingdom, shall stop, shall cease. And the remnant of Syria, they shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. And so the kingdom, the government of Syria, which is in Damascus, that's where Bashar Assad rules from. He has a compound there. It will cease. Damascus as a city will be a ruinous heap. So what happened last night? Well, this is from Debka.com, Syrian sources, reportedly showing before midnight. And by the way, I would have done this video last night. It was a breaking news thing, but I literally had no power. We've had a major storm go through. It was in rolling blackouts or whatever. All yesterday, I had no ability to actually upload a video. So shortly before midnight, November 29th, yesterday, the Israeli air attacks had been ongoing from 21:30, that's 9:30 p.m., over areas in Damascus vicinity. So they're getting very close. They're bombing very, very close. 3 waves of air and missile attacks had struck al-Kiswa, south of the capital, Kenakar to the southwest, and Quneitra opposite Israel's Golan border. So they were saving up these strikes. They had needed to get a bunch of strikes done. And apparently they went in with 3 different sorties and delivered a significant blow, apparently hitting all Iranian targets that they wanted to hit. Also hit, it says, were pro-Iranian militia command posts, various missile batteries, and Hezbollah forces. None of these reports were officially confirmed because the IDF has basically come out, and Israel has basically come out and said they're not going to directly report on this stuff because it's bad for general visibility and letting others know that these things are happening. But there's no lack of news sources reporting on this. This is Debka.com, by the way, a military intelligence source. The IDF has meanwhile reported that a missile was fired from Syria into Israel Golan. It exploded on open ground. A spokesman denied any Israeli aircraft were hit by Syrian fire. Syria is claiming it downed an Israeli aircraft. When the news first came, Debka posted this report. Syrian sources, including an official news agency, SANA, reported Thursday night that Syrian air defenses had repelled hostile targets at the al-Kiswa region south of Damascus. If the reports are confirmed, then this will be the 3rd Israeli attack by an air or missile on targets in Syria since suspending its airstrikes following the shooting of the Russian plane. So this marks the initiation, the beginning of new airstrikes. And apparently they're getting, either they have an agreement with Russia or they're getting by the air defenses. This is going to be a black eye for Russia, if indeed they're getting by Russian air defenses. If they're cooperating with Russia, well, Iran's not going to like that. And apparently they did significant damage. So what does the other side say about this? What is Iran saying about this? Well, we can go to presstv.com. This is Iran's propaganda news agency. Syria shoots down hostile targets. And you can see in the video there, so they shot down hostile target following an Israeli attack. And not much to see there, but a couple dots in the center exploding there. You can see another image of the image apparently exploding. Syria has shot down hostile targets following Israeli attacks south of the capital of Damascus. A military source did not specify the targets. Let's see if this one... This is a Syrian news agency reporting on the Damascus strike. Syrian air defenses responded to the attack aimed at the town of Kiswa. They were able, this is Iran reporting, they were able to foil its goals despite the intensity of the aggression. So Iran state media is even saying that it was a significant intensity. The intensity of the attack was significant. It was a large, strong attack, and we know that by the 3 waves that actually hit it. Israeli media claim that Iranian military advisors, as well as fighters from Lebanese resistance movement, were the main target of the attack. So Iran was directly targeted here. Israel claims that Iran's presence in Syria as part of an advisory mission requested by Damascus poses a threat to the regime's security. Using this pretext, the Iranian propaganda news source says, Tel Aviv has struck alleged positions of Iranian and Iran-backed forces across Syria over the course of a 7-year conflict. The attacks are usually viewed as attempts to prop up terrorist groups that have been suffering defeats at the hand of Syrian government forces. So this is all propaganda from Iran's point of view. So you can see the terminology there, speaking of the terrorist factions, against Bashar al-Assad. In October, Moscow equipped Damascus with advanced S-300 surface-to-air. Days after Israeli fighter jets attacked Syrian targets, used Russian surveillance plane flying nearby as a shield. That would be pretty skilled if Israel even did that, and misled the Syrian air defenses to shoot it down. Pretty interesting stuff. This is Iran propaganda telling you the story from a different angle. Since then, Israel has been very careful with its operations over Syria, and that part is accurate. It's not clear yet whether S-300 were among the air defense systems used in Thursday night's counterattacks. So apparently they got by the S-300. Iran is putting it out there in terms of press TV propaganda. They're not sure whether the S-300 was involved in defending. Maybe it was shut down. Maybe Israel struck a deal with Russia, and the S-300 was turned down, taken offline. Or maybe Israel has a way now to evade S-300, and they can get around it. And if they can get around it, it's going to be very embarrassing for the Russians. Another hook in the jaw to bring them down against Israel, because Israel continually betters Russia. Generally, I think in technology, Israel has some of the best technology, radar jamming, evading, etc. And of course, they have the new F-35s, and U.S. Has been shown to be controlling the skies over Syria as well. So maybe there's some agreement between the U.S. and Russia, mutual agreement there for Israel to be able to take out this. But this is a significant escalation. We see Isaiah 17 all over this, and we're going to see what the retaliation is for this. Apparently there was 3 waves of forces of aircraft hitting sources inside around Damascus. So this is a significant escalation. You have to think that an escalation like this, where they took out so many targets, Iranian targets, that Iran's going to strike back. This is huge. This is almost this is bigger than all the smaller attacks that Israel had been doing all along prior to the deployment of the S-300. And so the question is now, is Israel actually getting around the S-300, or is there an agreement with Russian forces to basically not shoot it down with the S-300? What's going on here? Certainly if Syria was controlling the S-300, they would have been firing it as fast as they could at any Israeli aircraft. So you got to think the most likely situation is that Israel actually has a way to evade the S-300 at this point in time, somehow, by radar jamming, by stealth aircraft, etc. Huge strike, guys. Breaking news. I'm going to follow this today because this is going to be big to see what the comments are, what the retaliation is, what Iran is saying about it on presstv.com. I'll put the links in the description. You guys can check it out. But a huge escalation in the Middle East. Be prepared, guys. Do you know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? The blackouts here where I live were a great test of what would we do in a grid down situation if the economy collapsed, which I think would kick off all the prophetic Middle East wars, because Western nations aren't seemingly involved in those wars. What takes out Western nations? I believe an economic collapse does. And so this blackout scenario here that we had power down all day was a great test of our resources, what we had on hand, how to heat the house, how to eat, how to light, how to, do we have enough lights, kerosene, propane, etc. It was a great test of that. And I think these things are coming to us. We're going to have to deal with some of this trouble and tribulation before some of these big end-time prophetic events. And if these big end-time prophetic events are going to happen imminently, are on the near horizon, how much closer is the economic collapse that I believe is absolutely coming? Be prepared, guys. Things are heating up in the Middle East.